Behold, Triumph Motorcycle's stunning tribute to Britain's classic cafe racers of the 1960s, the Triumph Thruxton. This striking motorcycle, with its retro styling and classic paint scheme, the low and narrow ace handlebars, and twin instrument pods, truly is a time machine. Seriously, on several occasions during the time I spent getting to know the Thruxton, I was approached by onlookers at gas stations who asked me, "Hey, where did you get the beautifully restored Triumph?" It was kind of fun, actually. Triumph achieves this retro effect by starting with a simple tubular frame that cradles an 865cc air-cooled, fuel-injected, dual overhead cam parallel twin engine that cranks out a claimed 69 horsepower. As far as the stopping power is concerned, the Triumph Thruxton is fitted with a big 320mm single disc up front and a rear single 255mm disc out back. Overall, it's a very nice balanced piece, and it certainly looks like it can top the ton and race out to a local calf for a cupper. But how does it work in today's world of 100km speed-rated highways and Starbucks Express drive-thrus? Well, here's what Mark Russell had to say after a day in the saddle.
So I know if I said first impression for me personally, I would say, wow, talk about nailing a look. What was your first impression this morning?
Yeah, this bike has absolutely everything right visually, and every little trick. I remember these bikes from the day, and they didn't come like this back in the late 60s or early 70s. You bought a standard bike and then you put these bars on it, you put the bar ends, mirrors on, you put the little fairing around the headlight and the cap for the, all that stuff you had to buy. So, yeah. And that was what you wanted. This is the look. And of all the standard bikes out on the market now, this is the one that has everything right about the way it looks.
Yeah.
And the way it looks riding down the road is pretty cool too.
You fired it up, but you had to use a choke this morning.
Yeah. I haven't done that in decades.
Yeah, and the feel was all correct?
Yeah, well, it's a little better than correct, because this is a modern motor. I mean, it's an old school design, but it's modern, so it's smooth, it fires up fairly easily. Yeah, there's a manual choke. I forgot. I couldn't figure out why is it not staying running.
Yeah.
You got to pull out the choke in the morning and fire it up. It's a cool little touch to the old school. The key is down there by the turn signal. It's not up on the dash. And you know, they could have put it wherever they want, but they put it in the right place. That's where it belongs on a bike like this. So it warmed up pretty easily and off we went, and it rode nice. I haven't ridden a bike like this for such a long time, and compared to a modern sport bike, everything about it is easier to do. Like in a modern sport bike, you're in an uncomfortable position for riding slow around town. The motor's way too high strung to cruise along in any gear. Any gear you're in is probably not the right gear, whereas this one, any gear you're in, it kind of doesn't matter. Just open the throttle and keep going.
Did you like the brakes?
Yeah, so the brakes are good. It's a single front disc, so that seemed to be enough. It's a heavier bike than a lightweight, super bike, but that's enough brake. It's a really hefty fork too, so it's firm up there. There's ABS, and we actually rode in the rain today. I didn't have a chance to feel whether that was working or not, although it was comforting to know that that was a part of the system. I could use the back brake, and if you use that too much in the rain, it'll lock, but not on this bike. So yeah, they're good, excellent.
Bar-mounted mirrors, very limited switch gear, 2 gauges, old school. What did you think?
Well, it was exactly the way I expected it to look. A speedo and a tack, handlebars, and a couple of... I didn't have to figure out how to work anything. I got on it and started riding. There are several aspects of this bike I thought were really nicely done. Like the bar end mirrors aren't some cheap thing that you bought and hammered into the end of the bar. They're sort of nicely sculpted and crafted. The wheels are aluminum rims with, good old-fashioned steel spokes laced into them, so that's a nice touch.
The way they should be?
Yep. The little cap on the seat, which is what makes the look, to a large degree for me, that makes it a cafe racer, is nicely handled. There's an actual seat underneath there, and one of the tools underneath there, the Allen key, will pop that off, and you can bring your passenger for a little ride or a long ride. It's all kind of what the way you expect it to be, but nicely glued together. And English bikes were never known to be put together well.
Yeah. So in terms of nostalgia, did this satisfy your thirst for the old days?
Yeah, it did, and it did it without ruining it, which is kind of important, because I think if I rode a 40-year-old motorcycle, I'd walk up to it thinking, well, I can't wait to do this. And then I'd ride it thinking, this is a horrible, old, ancient piece of farm equipment. Whereas this was nice to ride. I had all the right feelings walking up to it. I look at it and I think, yeah, that's a real motorcycle. And when I rode it, it functioned the way I remember in my distorted memory that it was supposed to work. And it was fun. It was easy to do and enjoyable.
Nice. Well, I'm glad you had fun today, Mark. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Dave.